Everyone in the crowd appears to hold their breath as that warm, longing voice begins to sing and the tune of Nights in White Satin permeates the air. There's no need to thrill the gray-haired man with the instrument pressed to his chest. Time can be stopped with a single note that remains constant. Justin Hayward is that dude. He was the Moody Blues poetic core and had a well-known voice. In addition, he is among the 20th century's most subtly well-known vocalists. He wasn't ostentatious like Freddy Mercury, odd like David Bowie, or obnoxious like Mick Jagger. Instead, Hayward chose to create inner symphonies, in which love was spoken in music that transcended the conventional definition of rock and sorrow was transformed into beauty. If you're enjoying this video, don't forget to like, share it with your friends, and subscribe to the channel for more amazing content. And hit the bell icon so you never miss an update. Now, back to the topic. What we were talking about was Justin never lost sight of what made him unique, even while he was topping the global charts. A gentle, wounded spirit that is content to live via music. He never had any problems in his life that made the tabloids or the press. However, beneath that serene appearance is a profound feeling of loss, hidden tragedies, and loneliness that has persisted for decades. His journey wasn't a triumphant rock song, from the time he was 17 and bought a cheap guitar to London until the moment he stood on stage by himself and bid farewell to his last bandmate. Rather, it was a tale of devotion to both music and oneself. The greatest musicians don't always need to yell to be heard, as Justin Hayward demonstrates. Sometimes all they have to do is talk. Childhood. On October 14, 1946, Justin Hayward was born in Swindon, England. Williamshire is home to the small industrial town of Swindon. His family was medium class, which implies they weren't extremely wealthy but also weren't impoverished. His mother was a pragmatic woman who quietly supported her son's artistic aspirations, while his father was a teacher who had a passion for poetry. Justin was raised in a modest household where BBC radio and Wordsworth poetry coexisted. His soul became attentive and sympathetic. The same thing that will eventually give his music its enchantment and beauty. He wasn't considered a special child by others. However, Justin's singing talent was evident from the start. He received an acoustic guitar from his parents when he was 9 years old. It was a modest gift that opened his eyes to countless possibilities. He learned to play by ear by imitating the riffs of his pre-rock British heroes, The Shadows, Buddy Holly, and Elvis Presley. Justin picked up lead guitar rapidly despite having no formal training, and by the time he was 11, he was writing songs. He accomplished this by listening to his instincts and emotions. During his teenage years, he dreamt, felt isolated, and yearned to escape the confines of his small-town existence. While attending Commonwealth School, he performed in school bands, at fairs, and at charitable functions. However, Justin wasn't a good fit there. He was not content to merely perform music. He desired to be inside of it, to live through it, and to allow it to shape who he was. Thus, at the age of 17, Justin Hayward traveled alone from Swindon to London. The majority of his buddies were still considering their college options and test scores. His bag contained a stack of self-recorded music, a beat-up guitar, and several sets of clothes. It was what a young man who was putting everything on the line for music was all about. The initial years in the city were somewhat challenging. They penned songs for money, sang radio jingles, played music in East End bars, and ate quick noodles in inexpensive apartments. But Justin truly believed that music could save him in any situation, so he never gave up. He experienced a pivotal moment that altered everything because of his faith and a fortunate circumstance. He submitted a song to the Moody Blues, a band searching for a new direction following the departure of lead singer Denny Laine. It was unthinkable that the timid Swindon youngster would end up becoming their new soul and penning the greatest tale in their history. Early years, Justin Hayward had little more than a guitar, a few self-recorded songs, and the hazy notion that music would be his true calling when he relocated to London in the early 1960s. He quickly agreed to collaborate with Lonnie Donegan, a well-known figure in skiffle at the time. However, the cooperation ended abruptly due to artistic differences. It introduced them to the negative aspects of the music industry at a young age. Being heard was not always a result of having skill. Justin, however, didn't reconsider. He continued to write songs and record producers' demo tracks. He occasionally performed with the Wild Three as well, but the group never gained enough popularity to play anywhere but local clubs. He worked hard to acquire even the tiniest gigs, sang jingles to pay the rent, and stayed up all night rearranging wording to learn how to succeed in the industry. But his fire was unabated by these jagged edges. They turned him into a silent but resolute artist instead. Things started to shift in 1966. The Moody Blues, who had a smash song with Go Now, were struggling at the time due to the resignation of lead singer Denny Laine. A new member and a new path were required. Via a mutual friend, Justin submitted a demo tape of his own music. Among them was Cities, a song that was quite dissimilar from the music that was popular at the time, with a hazy melody and odd lyrics. Mike Pinder, the band's pianist, was instantly mesmerized. Justin was asked to come in and try out shortly after. The band was taken aback when the young performer sang one of his own tunes. He was holding his crimson ES-335 guitar with a resolute expression on his face. They witnessed more than a musician or singer. They spotted a talented musician who had the ability to revive the Moody Blues. John Lodge, a long-standing friend of Mike's, joined the band shortly after, completing the band's well-known lineup. That was it, the unidentified Swindon lad joined the Moody Blues. It was the beginning of a musical journey that would alter not just his life but also the 1960s rock music industry. Career success. The Moody Blues launched a daring new phase that was poetic, inventive, and quite different from what other bands were doing at the time, just a year after Justin Hayward joined the group. The major advancement was Days of Future Past, published in 1967. A composition that combined a full classical orchestra with contemporary rock. At the period, the majority of bands were interested in R&B, blues, or the anti-war movement. However, Justin Hayward produced a surreal, reflective, and bizarre musical universe. At the age of 19, he penned Nights in White Satin. It became a timeless classic after being placed at the end of the record. The song was an international smash and a representation of a musical era influenced by philosophy and the desire to transcend reality, with its sweeping mellotron, passionate lyrics, and emotionally intense singing. This success paved the way for a series of now iconic albums, In Search of the Lost Chord, 1968, which explored spirituality, cosmic wonder, and identity, On the Threshold of a Dream, 1969, which featured Justin's lovely song, Lovely to See You, To Our Children's Children's Children, 1969, which offered a somber look at humanity's future, and A Question of Balance, 1970, which was existential, political, and a shift in storytelling. These albums, in their own unique ways, spoke to a generation divided between expectations and setbacks. And the focal point of that journey was Justin Hayward. He provided the Moody Blues with their emotional core, authored the lyrics, and composed the tunes. His songs seemed like letters sent straight to the listener's heart, and they were never ostentatious or loud. Following the release of Seventh Sojourn, their seventh album, in 1972, the Moody Blues took a brief hiatus in the early 1970s. After nearly 10 years of constant invention, they were all emotionally spent, especially Justin. We no longer knew what direction we were headed, he said, and it actually meant something. Blue Jays, a melancholic yet exquisite symphony that is regarded as one of Justin's best, was created during this period in collaboration with John Lodge. The lyrics of songs like Remember Me, My Friend, and Maybe maintained his trademark intimacy and sentimentality. The melancholy ballad, Forever Autumn, was recorded by Justin for Jeff Wayne's 1978 album, The War of the Worlds. The song's themes of lost love made Justin's voice a crucial component of the work. The song became a significant solo accomplishment outside of the Moody Blues as it immediately reached the UK top 5. In 1978, the Moody Blues reunited and released Octave. With Justin's quiet leadership, the band remained loyal to their work even if their heyday was over. The 1980s saw a resurgence of their classic songs, such as The Voice, 1981, and Your Wildest Dreams, 1986. Justin never made an effort to blend in, even as musical tastes evolved. His songs remained introspective, nuanced, and unaffected by what might sell, much like an inner journal. Millions of people of all ages were exposed to his iconic sound as he performed constantly with the Moody Blues in North America, Europe, and Australia. In 2018, Justin Hayward and the Moody Blues were admitted into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. Their musical influence lasted for half a century, therefore they deserved it. However, drummer Graham Edge passed away in 2021, a few years later. That marked the Moody Blues' peaceful demise and the conclusion of a well-known chapter that had been developing for almost 50 years. The last person to leave, Justin, didn't throw a lavish celebration or say farewell. With his instrument in hand and his memories in a backpack, he simply continued. Outside of music, Justin Hayward performs heartfelt renditions of timeless songs when he's on stage. But away from the stage, he has chosen a life so modest and secretive that he is nearly invisible. He has never been involved in a public love affair in his more than 50 years as an artist, and unlike many of his competitors, tabloids have never exposed his private life. However, that does not imply that his life has been simple. In 1970, Justin married Marie Hayward, who wasn't in show business, when he was 24 years old. They shared a home in the woods, away from the bustle of the spotlight, in West Sussex. In one of the rare interviews Justin conducted regarding personal affairs, he claimed that Marie was someone who understood silence and could put up with a husband who was constantly absorbed in his own world. It sounds like a musical destiny that the couple had a daughter named Dorham Hayward. As an adult, Dorham pursued a career in graphic design, creating visuals for her dad's tours and record covers. One of the few mental pillars in Justin's otherwise quiet and difficult life is their connection, which has remained solid and tight. Since the early 2000s, Marie's attendance at Justin's concerts and public gatherings has changed significantly. The two broke up, according to family members who spoke discreetly about it. A decision that is consistent with Justin's identity. When the unity collapses, there won't be any show or drama, just a slow retreat. He has never denied anything in public, but when discussing things he is unsure of in recent interviews, his voice has shaken. As he gets older and lives alone, Justin frequently travels with his guitar, a few books, and a quiet that nobody really notices. In his personal life, he has lost more than simply his wife. In 2018, Ray Thomas, a close friend from the start who played with him in the Moody Blues, passed away from prostate cancer. 3 years later, at the age of 80, the band's drummer, Graham Edge, who was the only other original member still alive, passed away. Justin is the last person remaining on stage now that Graham has left. He once stated, "When we play, I still look to the right where he used to sit. Even though he's not there anymore, I keep the rhythm as if I were playing with him again." Justin Hayward is left to face the world by himself, quietly but unwaveringly committed to music, as the names of those who worked alongside him to build music history gradually disappear. British rock icons of the 1960s and 1970s are typically associated with names like Mick Jagger, David Bowie, and John Lennon. People whose defiant comments and pictures stunned the globe. However, Justin Hayward took a different approach. He had a booming red ES-335 guitar and a voice like midnight. It was quiet and slow, but it was so profound and enduring that it was irreplaceable. Justin left a lasting musical legacy as the Moody Blues lead singer and primary producer for over 50 years. "I Know You're Out There Somewhere," Question, The Voice, and Tuesday Afternoon were a few of the popular tunes. These symphonic pieces, which were sung in poetical language, portrayed tales of time, awareness, and broken hearts. Because of these achievements, Hayward and the Moody Blues are regarded as the pioneers of progressive rock. They set the standard for experimenting with electronic, classical, and philosophical music, which eventually gained popularity thanks to acts like Radiohead, Pink Floyd, Genesis, and Yes. According to one of the key figures in contemporary prog rock, Steven Wilson, Justin Hayward writes the most beautiful sad melodies. Even though Justin has never made headlines, his impact is recognized globally. In 2018, he and the Moody Blues were inducted into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. Nights in White Satin has appeared in numerous films and television series, including The Big Chill, A Bronx Tale, and Mad Men. Though long overdue, it was well worth the wait. For his enduring contributions to music and British society, Justin was named an Officer of the Order of the British Empire, OBE, in 2022. He is more than just a musician, he is a defender of romanticism in an increasingly pragmatic society. Even though the music business became digital, short-lived, and controlled by machines, Justin remained to writing deeply personal songs that were poetic, contemplative, and humanistic. He wrote songs that were just enough for the reader to feel and comprehend, like a blank page in a journal. Interestingly, Justin never sought praise through power or fame, even though he had a significant influence. He declined numerous offers of advertising, rarely appeared on television, and lacked a personal social media profile. He remains loyal to what really matters. Unpretentious, unpolished music that will always be in vogue, despite the fact that many musicians are defined by the number of likes and followers they receive. Life now, Justin Hayward is over 75 years old and still active, whereas many of his peers have retired or are living off the fame of their previous accomplishments. Instead of playing on large stages, he stands by himself with his guitar in dimly lit concert halls and whispers the songs that once captivated the globe. Following the death of drummer Graham Edge in 2021 and the Moody Blues' permanent musical hiatus, Justin remained silent and did not host a lavish memorial service. He was able to create, perform, and tour as if no time had elapsed after his silent transformation into a completely independent artist. In 2024, he embarked on the Blue World Tour, performing in cities across North America, including New York, New Jersey, and Florida. He performed hits that people would never forget, such as Forever Autumn, Tuesday Afternoon, and of course, Nights in White Satin. Longtime collaborators Mike Dawes and Julie Reagan, who play guitar and keyboards, shared the stage and helped revive these classic sounds. Justin's solo tour, The Blue World, expanded to 15 big gigs across the United States at the beginning of 2025. This was the culmination of his nearly 60-year commitment to music. At his performances, he did more than just sing. He talked about how he created Nights in White Satin in one afternoon while watching the sun set over Swindon in 1966, how he wrote songs in lonely hotel rooms in the United States, and his thoughts on Ray Thomas. Away from the spotlight, Justin leads a peaceful existence in the woods outside of show business. He resides at a home in the woods in southern England, where time appears to stand still. Avoid using social media and refrain from using foul language. Through newsletters, handwritten letters, and candid behind-the-scenes videos, fans may connect with him. His daughter Dora manages the organization and execution of his travels, preserving his reputation as a genuinely self-sufficient artist. Despite his advanced age of 78, Justin continues to compose his own songs, organize his performances, select his set lists, and manage his public persona. He no longer views music as a means of gaining recognition. It's a personal ritual for him that keeps him connected to himself, the deceased, and memories. In a rare interview, he stated, "I don't need anyone to take his place. I still look to the right side of the stage where Graham used to sit." Justin Hayward continues to create and sing despite the fact that his life has changed significantly. He did it to honor a commitment to the music that had saved his life numerous times, not for fame. When he takes the stage with his silver hair, old guitar, and gentle smile, people know one thing for sure. Music never abandoned him, and he never abandoned it. It's not the kind of work that makes you tremble, laugh, or cheer. Justin Hayward is not that person. He can make you stop talking and start crying with a single line. In a world of music that is becoming louder and more forgettable by the day, he nevertheless travels a lonely path. He lives with unflinching devotion to feeling, sings through loneliness, and rides from the heart. Justin fled Swindon with a battered guitar when he was a kid. He hasn't really altered as the Moody Blues' final member. Both the instrument and the vocals remain unchanged. Now, however, each note he plays evokes a different memory, a different hunger, or a different time period. No one has ever pleaded with him for pity or commendation. However, his humility makes him one of the most honest and well-respected individuals in British music. Perhaps this is why music lovers will always like Justin Hayward, so he never needs to say goodbye. Tell us about a memorable moment in Justin Hayward's music. Forever Autumn may soothe you, Nights in White Satin could transport you, or it could simply be a place to put your emotions to rest. Where was the first place you heard him? After all these years, what music still makes you want to listen to it? Below, share your tale with us. Songs that never go out of style remind us of things that are irreplaceable, so we want to hear it.